How can a microgrid and renewable energy provider for data centers find new clients to talk to? How does a microgrid and renewable energy provider for data centers find new clients to talk to? So first up, when you have two different kinds of lines of business, we first need to unravel, is it the same kind of client who's going to buy microgrids and renewable energy from your company? Or is it potentially two different clients? Is it potentially two different ideal client profiles, potentially two different kinds of client target account lists? Is it potentially two different sales teams? In most cases, probably the same, but let's first just double check and make sure that we don't need two different kinds of sales teams, two different sections on your website, two different go-to-market playbooks to be able to educate and build trust with two completely different kinds of buyers of microgrids and renewable energy. So we're going to go with the idea that it's a single kind of buyer. So once we know that, to find clients to talk to, we need to make sure that we're talking to them in the realities of the world that we live in today. Because 10 years ago, buyers of these kinds of solutions, which microgrids probably wasn't even a thing back then. I remember going to a data center related conference in about 10 years ago, and there was one CEO talking about their approach to energy and sustainability out of like 50 different topics that are on the site. And most of the people in the room looked at that he had just landed in a spaceship from another planet. It just wasn't a thing. So microgrids, probably not, but a little bit like on energy management and sustainability was a little bit of a thing. Now, PUE's been around for quite some time. So when it comes to finding the right people to talk to, we need to make sure that we're speaking with them in a way that they see us as the go-to experts in the space. Why is it so important that our prospects and clients see your company as experts in microgrids and renewable energy? Because we now live in a world where there's no reason for people to talk with you and your sales team until they're very, very far along in their research and decision-making process. It didn't used to be this way. 10 years ago, they would gladly talk to someone from your sales team after maybe halfway through the buyer's journey. If we're thinking about sports analogies, they would meet with someone from your team during the halftime show, regardless of whether it was basketball or soccer or football. And if it was a baseball game, they'd meet with someone from your halftime team, I don't know, maybe during the fifth inning. We now live in a world where the self-propelled buyer's journey is the dominant buyer's journey for nearly everyone. It used to be that it was the dominant buyer's journey for millennials. Now it's millennials and Gen Z and Gen X, and even a lot of younger boomers who are pushing out retirement and still staying in the workforce. So we need to recognize just how much impact this device and mobile and cloud and social has had on how people research and make decisions. And all these things started with an empowered buyer on the business to consumer side. And it's for sure has filtered down into the business to business side, IT kind of side. Gartner estimates a typical buyer's journey is 83% of the way over before vendor contact. They're 83% of the way done before they're open to talking with someone from your sales team. So when it comes to finding clients to talk to, the problem is if we only wait to talk to them until they're at the absolute end, someone else, another team, another company, or multiple companies have been the ones doing all of the educating. They've been building all of the trust. They've been steering the whole conversation of how your prospects and clients evaluate, how they compare all the different options when it comes to microgrids and renewable energy. So if we want to make sure that we are able to be in on those early conversations, that we're able to influence how our prospects and clients evaluate the different options in front of them, it is incredibly important. It is mandatory that we figure out a way to get in there early and often, because they're not going to let us in anymore as a transaction-focused salesperson. We need to reposition. We need to reboot. We need a radical makeover so that when our sales team, when our marketing team, when our account managers meet with potential prospects and clients, they are now seen, your team is now seen as the go-to experts in the microgrid and renewable energy industry. They need to be seen as subject matter experts, teachers, trusted advisors, and even the more advanced people on your team to be seen as thought leaders. By showing up like that, by publishing, by creating and promoting, by distributing amazingly helpful educational content, blogs, downloadables, videos, podcasts, live streams like this, webinars, offline webinars in the form of like breakfast seminars and lunch and learns and deep dive educational symposiums and panels, all of these. The goal is for your company to be in as many of those 28 touch points between complete stranger and purchase decision as possible. By default, most people in the data center industry bet a huge amount of their budget on field marketing and event marketing, which no matter how epic your cabana party is, no matter how fantastic your golf tournament is, those just count as 1 or 2 touch points. So what about the other 26 touch points? How are we going to make sure that we stay with the best prospects and clients throughout the full buyer's journey? So we need to know what they are interested in, and we need to tailor our efforts, customize all of our education and trust building to focus on their biggest goals and their biggest challenges. That's how we make sure that we find the best clients to talk to. And we'll know it's working because by the time we get to those one-on-one conversations, they're already quoting your methodology. They've used all your tools and resources to frame how they evaluate all the other options for microgrids and renewable energy that are in front of them. And because of that, it has a dramatic impact of ensuring that your company is on the short list. And when you do this at a world-class elite level, you'll find in many cases that the short list collapses substantially down to sometimes the point where you're the only company left on that short list by the time they get in market, by the time they get to the decision stage of the journey. In order to have that much of a neutralizing of competition, they're relatively unusual circumstances, but it can, all of this done right, nearly guarantees that you're on the short list, and it for sure knocks out a lot of companies that they would potentially consider who don't show up the way you're showing up. They're showing up as if it's still 10 years ago, and prospects and clients want to have a cold pitch all day long. And that's just not how buyers research and make their purchase decisions anymore. The self-propelled buyer's journey means that no one needs your sales team to read them the information that's on your website anymore. Because if they can't read it, for sure, there's a video on the website where they can press the play button and it will be read to them, or an audio on there, or they just asked Copilot or Chat or Google or Siri, and any one of those personal assistants read them and gave them back the same information. So again, when your client-facing team shows up, they need to show up as a consultant, a teacher, a trusted advisor, or a subject matter expert.